Hey, this is Walter Jones.
This is Austin St. John.
And you're listening to
Ranger Danger.
Go, go, Ranger Danger! Go, go, Ranger Danger! Go, go, Ranger Danger! Matt and Michael's Ranger Danger!
Welcome once again to Mighty Morphin Ranger Danger, the podcast where we watch an episode of Power Rangers and then after that we discuss it a bit. This is episode 67 of the show. We'll be watching The Green Dream. I'm Matt.
I'm Michael.
Michael is here. Tim is back, as he often is. And we've got a first-time guest on the show. Michael, would you like to introduce our guest?
I would like to introduce my dad. Say hi.
Hi everyone, my name's Frank.
Hi, Frank. This is very exciting for us because I think it's the first you guys have had in a while, isn't it?
Feels like a while, yeah.
A while. So it's always fun to get a fresh perspective on the show. Now, Frank, we have a bit of a tradition on the show. When we have a first-time guest, we like to ask them about their first experience with Power Rangers. But I suspect you've probably never seen an episode of Power Rangers, is that right?
I probably have, Matt, but it would be a long time ago.
Yeah.
Michael did remind me recently of an experience that we had seeing a live show of the Power Rangers at some shopping mall in the late 1990s, but
Right.
even that's only a very vague memory.
So you remember that too, it's not...
I remember it as being...
I sent him an email to confirm that I didn't make it up because there's nothing on the internet about it at all.
And then I had to trawl through all these books to try and find a reference, which I did.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Only found that we didn't enjoy it, or I didn't think it was very good.
I thought it was rad that Power Rangers in
You
space
found
were on a stage in front of me.
Yeah, it did happen.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me terribly. Like a shopping mall presentation of the Power Rangers seems like it wouldn't be gripping.
I liked it, but I was also 8, so...
Okay. Well, no, this will be good. You'll get to see an episode of Power Rangers for the first time in at least a decade.
Yes.
That'll be a good time. Michael, is there anything we need to talk about before we watch this episode?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. So, the first thing is that they revealed the cast and crew for Ninja, which is the next series of Sentai. I've got some pictures here of... It's a better look at the suits and at the Megazord.
Okay. They look like ninjas.
The Megazord does look like a baby sitting on an adult man's, front.
It does, that's correct.
Because it's got, little legs.
It looks like a robot with another robot in a papoose.
Because the Red Ranger's Zord is just like a robot man.
Yeah.
And so when it becomes the Megazord, it just sits in the dump truck.
That's shit. That's shit. I'll say it, I don't care. That is shit.
As a general rule, I don't think your Zord should look like it has a papoose.
I mean, look, this is a season that's also going to have a UFO Zord and an elephant Zord.
Okay.
So they're going,
Eclectic?
Eclectic, I think, is probably the right word.
All right.
They've run out of ideas, in other words, haven't they?
Look, certainly they've been doing it for 40 years.
It just sits in the dump truck. Is not good enough.
It's not a solution.
I think, as a designer, you have to appreciate, Michael, that there's probably more elegant ways to handle that
I
situation.
think, the legs could have just gone into it like boots, like they normally do.
Yeah.
That would have probably been a better
There's so
choice.
many solutions that aren't... It just sits in the dump truck.
Look, we'll just have to wait and see how we like it, okay?
I'm telling you how I like it.
Yeah, we've already made our decision.
Alright, fine. So the second thing is, just this morning,
Yep.
they dropped the first promo for this series.
Okay.
So we're going to pause the recording now, we'll watch it, and then we'll come back.
Sounds good. All right, we're back. We watched that.
Yep.
It's Sentai.
Yeah, it definitely is.
There's nothing that stood out for me.
I'm pleased to say that my memory's not failing and it's just as I remember it.
Yeah, exactly. I love the wave at the end, though. It's endearing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just, them being friendly. I don't know that it's necessarily indicative of the tone of the show itself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, all right.
We'll put that link in the show notes.
You can only hope, Michael.
It might be grim and dark and serious.
I feel like that's probably not the case.
I mean, sure, but it might be.
Okay.
Okay, so, episode 67?
You do remember the bit where it's just a robot sitting in the dump truck, right?
I do, but I'm not as upset about that as everybody else seems to
I'm
be.
not upset. I'm just saying it's not super serious.
Tell me there's a serious fight with dangly baby legs.
What if it uses them to do a double kick?
No, that would be silly.
There's a monster grappling it, and it's like, we can't get away. No, it's okay. Bam!
I'm just sitting in the
That's fine. That could be cool. It's not serious, though.
That's true.
There's a
That's
distinction
true.
to be made there.
Okay, fine. Okay, it's probably not going to be Dreamer Dark and Serious.
Yep.
Which probably means it will be made into the most dark series of Power Rangers yet, given how they tend to do these things. Alright.
Before we watch the episode, I just remembered that I need to tell you, the listeners, that we have a website, which is www.rangerdangerpodcast.com. You can send us an email, which we very much love, at rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a Twitter tweet at RangerDcast on Twitter. We're also on Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, and Stitcher.
And we've got a shop.
And we've got a shop where you can buy things from us.
rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop.
Support the global economy, or you hate capitalism. Buy one of our things.
I mean, I think some people would probably be comfortable saying they hate capitalism.
Especially podcast listeners.
That's true. They're an anarchic bunch, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Support us and we'll help you bring down the system.
That's better.
There we go.
I mean, I don't want to make promises that we can't keep. I don't know how good I'm going to be at bringing down the system.
We've got 20 years of podcasting ahead of us. We'll find time to
Okay,
disrupt
we'll bring down the system.
the giant wheels of capitalism.
That's a promise of the pod. This is Mighty Morphin Anarchy Danger. We'll bring down the system. 667?
Don't you think that "we'll bring down the system" is a catchier tagline than watching Power Rangers and talking about it afterwards?
Yeah, but I also worry that we need to start a separate podcast for it.
Okay. We'll discuss that.
Okay.
So that off air.
Alright.
Remember, it's not going to happen unless you buy a shirt.
Hold on. I don't know that they can buy shirts yet.
Buy one of the things we're selling that may or may not be a shirt.
Good.
Okay, let's watch some Power Rangers now.
Yep. We'll be back in a sec.
And we're back.
Yep.
So we just watched The Green Dream. Oh, it's alright.
I was kind of expecting to see the dream.
Yeah, there wasn't much on that Green Dream, was there?
No.
That is true.
So, Frank, first episode of Power Rangers.
Just as I remembered it, Matt.
Yep.
Just as I remembered it. And I'm sitting here wondering what the target age group of this show is.
I think 7 to 9, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Which puts it firmly in the right spot in my memory of where Michael and Tim were when we watched it.
Yeah. I imagine it would have been a bit bewildering coming into sort of the middle of the series like that, with a lot of strange elements going on.
Yeah, well, I don't know who any of the characters are, so apart from the Power Rangers, and no, it doesn't really make sense. But
Yeah, that's okay. It doesn't really make sense anyway, so you're not missing out on that. Alright, Michael, shall we go from the top and recap the events of the Green Dream?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so everyone's got a 500-word essay due on Friday.
Not an essay. Paragraph, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, 500 words, that's a Facebook post.
It's 2
Really.
pages.
Oh,
No,
with
it's
what,
not.
size 48 font?
No, 250 words is a page.
That can't be right, surely.
I promise you that's correct.
A page of what?
A page of 12 point Times New Roman double line spaced.
That doesn't seem right.
I can tell you, when this series went to air, they didn't have Times New Roman double line space. They were all handwritten essays, baby.
Well,
500 words was a page. Page and a half max.
Yeah, I think either way, that's not really substantial.
Not really the
anyway.
point.
They're in year 10.
Yeah, but they're freaking out because it's due tomorrow.
Well,
you
they
can write
haven't started.
500 words in half an hour.
I mean, we're not all professional writers, Matt.
It's on something that interests them.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's certainly a vague topic for an episode.
Anyway, Bulk and Skull are worried because they haven't done their essays. They've decided that what they're going to do it on is
Have a guess, listeners.
uncovering the secret identities of the Power Rangers. And given this is the opening scene of the episode, you'd think that this would be an important part of the proceedings.
No.
That is not correct. Although it does treat us to a disturbing scene where Bulk says the word Power Rangers and licks his lips. It's just uncomfortably suggestive.
What? No, I don't want to know. Whatever the image is that's in your head right now, I don't want to know what it is. So, Tommy's been having a dream where he loses his powers.
Yeah.
We don't see that dream.
Have we ever seen that
No.
dream?
Oh, Tim, no. This is a dream that is introduced today and will never come up again.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I was kind of expecting that we would see the dream at some point.
No. Did not happen.
No.
No luck there.
He's had it 3 nights in a row, Matt. He thinks it's a message.
Yeah. I mean,
he's probably right.
yeah. Surprisingly accurate, actually. So we cut to Lord Zed on the moon.
Yep.
Who details his plan of stealing
The Sword of Power.
a sword of power, which is not something that's been referenced before,
And
right?
don't get confused with the power sword
Right.
or the other power sword, which is Jason's sword and the Megazord sword. Or any of their Blade Blaster swords. There's lots of swords, or the Sword of Darkness.
The Sword of Darkness,
Yeah, that's what I thought they were talking
Which is
about.
what I was picturing, but it definitely was not.
It was not, because they kept talking about it as if it was an ongoing concern. Like we should already know about it.
No. We've never
seen
before.
that sword before.
Never,
Okay, I
ever.
don't think so.
It was bizarre. But
But everyone certainly seems to know what they're going on about.
it's definitely talked about like it's a thing that
They knew the protocol on how to get it.
Tommy
there.
says, later in the episode, Tommy says, let's summon the Sword of Power. And everyone goes, yeah, let's do that. Sword of Power summoning. Like, they don't need to be taught how to do it.
No. But that's confusing. Lord Zed says that he's going to crush the Green Ranger like a green weed. Telling us that Lord Zed is terrible at gardening. You don't crush weeds. That's not how that works.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I don't think that's going to destroy a plant.
I mean, I guess, if you want to be boring. Crush them and then uproot them. So it can only be called forth when all the Power Rangers are together.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I guess.
Seems like a reasonable way to prevent a sword from coming out accidentally, I guess. I don't know.
That's a problem. You
Yeah.
may face in your life. Swords coming out accidentally.
So he's going to, they're going to isolate Tommy
Yep.
and get him to get the others to summon the Sword of Power
Yep. And steal it.
and steal it.
Solid
and then
plan.
use it to
Yeah.
steal their powers.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that question mark, world domination bit. So we don't know what the Sword of Power does exactly.
No, we don't.
But as far as we know, it's a good plan.
Sure. So back at the youth centre,
Yeah.
Bulk and Skull have got a device that...
Can I just say that in that last scene on the moon, Lord Zed says, I, Lord Zed, as if he's not a guy who walks around with a giant Z on his staff everywhere he goes.
We know who you are. We know who you are.
I mean, he's also talking to
Goldar.
Goldar, who definitely knows who he is.
Yeah.
Maybe Lord Zed is aware of the audience.
Yeah, I mean, people miss episodes. They might not know who he is.
Yeah.
It's just polite of him, I guess.
So Bulk's got a device that measures high energy levels.
Yeah.
And presumably the Power Rangers have got a lot of energy.
Did he say he got it from the spy shop?
He did get it
I
from
love
the
that there's a
spy
spy
there's a
shop
spy
in Angel
shop.
Grove.
that sells, like, bizarre science devices.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a spy shop that sells a device that can legitimately detect the power of the Power Rangers, as we learn in the
Like,
scene.
can you, as a spy, imagine any other way in which that would be useful? Like, you're tracking down a cheating husband. You're like, oh, he's got high energy levels.
Yeah, it's
Is it more than just convenient that they developed a system for blocking?
Yeah, so Billy has developed a device that scrambles signals, which ostensibly he was planning on using to protect them from Lord Zed
somehow.
somehow.
Because you know Lord Zed, a lot of those malicious signals
Yeah,
he uses.
but at the moment it will only work within a very small radius.
Yeah.
Which luckily is enough of a radius that can scramble Bulk's energy-seeking device.
Which is really not what signals are.
Shut up, Tim.
Yes.
I think we understand at this point that this show does not know how science works.
Yeah, clearly.
Or political correctness, because, I mean, calling the fat guy Bulk is rather cruel, isn't it?
It is. That's definitely true.
So the device, Bulk has got a spy device, gets pointed towards Ernie, who does like a mocking fighting stance and does a little kia, which is nice.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Ernie's on board. I'm sure Ernie knows.
Ernie must know,
Why is he nice to them otherwise?
because they're good kids, Tim.
Yeah, but like extra nice.
He's a nice guy. And he's
I'm sure he treats all of his customers that way, Tim. We just don't see it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, we don't,
They're not
there's-
all main characters.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
Alright, so, Tommy's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
To the library, Michael. Were you watching or not?
Before it closes, fist pump, fist bump.
I'm a bit worried now. Are these people trying to take over the podcast from me? They're paying more attention. Okay, so Tommy's got to get to the library before it closes.
Yeah.
So he walks through the park alone.
Because the only way to get anywhere in Angel Grove is through the
park.
Park, yeah.
Alone or with one other
I'm
person.
sure the school is at the centre of a torus-shaped park.
Yeah.
That sounds remarkably
Literally,
likely.
where are you going? Oh, it doesn't matter.
But then there's a ring of houses, and then there's a ring of quarries and deserts.
Yeah, and abandoned industrial areas. Yeah.
Angel Grove looks like a target from there.
It's a city of concentric circular.
So it's Canberra
zones
With the school at the centre.
Yeah, with the school at the middle. Strong focus on education.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to make sure that everyone took as long to get to school as everyone else.
Yeah, it's in a central location.
Yeah. Right. So we get a putty fight. What did you think of the putties? That are the grey dudes who go.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and turn into blobs when they're destroyed.
Yeah.
You had like a vocal reaction the first time that happened.
Well, I just love how everyone appears doing a somersault in the air, but apart from that, why didn't they just appear behind him in the first place and just grab him from behind?
Yeah, so in this fight, Tommy takes a couple out, and then 5 of them teleport immediately behind him and grab him. It would be a sensible way to start the fight.
It works great, and I don't know why they don't do it more often.
Because otherwise we wouldn't get to see Tommy do the attack where he throws his backpack to a putty, who catches it for some inexplicable reason.
Well, no, I get that. If someone throws something at you, your first reaction is to catch it.
Okay, but he doesn't
Like
then
the
put it down. He holds onto it so Tommy can do like a flying
Scissor kick.
scissor jumping
Like a Chun-Li style bicycle kick.
Yeah.
that makes no physics sense, but let's move on.
It's interesting because that would be something that I could buy if he's a Power Ranger, because he has superpowers. Of course he can do flying kicks. But it's just a dude. Like, he shouldn't be able to travel that far horizontally while kicking.
He covered a lot of ground.
He did. Like, if anything, that's an efficient way to get places. You shouldn't be doing that down the school corridor at the end of class.
But you have to have a dude standing there so you can kick off him.
Yeah, it has to be holding a badge, apparently.
So look, they teleport back to what I'm sure is called another dimension.
Yeah.
But it's clearly the Angel Grove Cave.
They refer to it as the Dark Dimension, but it wasn't that set.
I'm sure the Dark Dimension is Goldar's dungeon.
Yeah, it is. It's the fuck dungeon.
So anyway, I don't know why they didn't have that set available to them.
I don't know why they said it if they weren't going to use it.
Anyway, what they're clearly using is the one cave in Angel Grove that we've seen 30 times before. So Goldar's going to mind control Tommy with Lord Zed's staff, because Lord Zed can't leave the moon, I guess.
Yeah, that interested me as well. Like, why is Lord Zed not the one doing that?
Not enough skin.
That's true. Bad immune system shouldn't go in caves.
I like to think that Lord Zed knows in his mind that he's not going to win.
Yeah.
He can't possibly succeed. So if he makes Goldar do it,
He can
it
blame
could
Goldar.
be Goldar's fault when it all fucks up.
That does make sense. I'll buy that.
So he's going to mind control Tommy, and Tommy's going to convince the other Rangers to summon the Sword of Power.
Yep.
And then bring the Sword of Power back.
Yep.
It's a pretty solid plan.
Yep.
I don't know why he doesn't just mind control all of them to jump off a cliff. If, mind control is an option.
And it seems to be a relatively straightforward and uncomplicated one.
Yeah, I was going to say, it did look very hard.
I zapped you and it worked. There was no struggle.
Tommy was like, I'm never going to let you mind control me again. Immediately before he gets mind control with no resistance.
And also, it's another blow to the Power Rangers, because Tommy has the Book of Mythology that he borrowed from the library.
Which we didn't see happen.
No.
But anyway.
That would require them building
Wasn't
a
he
set.
going to the library through the park?
Maybe he was coming back.
Alright. Back to school?
Oh, no.
Does the school not have a library?
No, it'd be a public library, probably, is where he was going.
I feel like the school would probably have a book on mythology. My school did. I know
Certainly
that
a
because they bought my
generic
lunchtime
book on
reading.
mythology. If he wanted a specific kind of thing, say,
Well, he
Robo-Goats.
needed the one with robot goats in them. His favourite mythological
So
creature.
somehow, in this book, there is the book that we see is 2 pages that are just illustrations.
Yeah, but
One
I'd buy
page is
that
at
those
night.
I'd buy that those are 2 full colour plates
Yeah, sure.
inside a book of text.
So one of those is, yes, just a medieval knight.
Yeah.
And the other is a robot goat.
So no one knows what mythology
Presumably
is.
for robot goatianism.
All I'm saying is remember your target audience here. What mythology actually is doesn't matter.
I mean, that's fair.
So Goldar sees this book hanging out of Tommy's bag and basically goes, Lord Zed, would this be alright? And Lord Zed
I know,
goes,
I submit this image for your approval.
Yeah. Like he's a designer.
Yeah,
You have to send it up the
Robot
chain.
goat. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, we're going to need review. I want it to pop.
Yeah.
I
I'm
want
going to email
robot
this
goats to
through.
pop.
Is that any good? I can do another one if it's shit.
I need it brighter, but with less colours.
Yeah, no. Less white space, but more breathing room.
Sorry,
Okay.
I should make jokes about designers when that is your life.
Yeah, it's awful. Clients are the worst. But Lord Zed, no revisions necessary.
No, approved
He
straight
just
away.
turns it straight into a robot goat.
I want that boss.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay.
I have a question about the RoboGoat.
Yeah. Is it, what the fuck is a robot goat?
No, that's fine. I understand it's a robot goat.
Sure.
What part of it is a robot?
It's chest.
It's chest, I
It
suppose.
just looks like a vest.
It's a robot vest.
Okay, alright.
It's a robo chest vest.
Fair enough. Question answered.
So Tommy goes back to the school, hypnotized now.
Yeah.
Conveniently, well, not conveniently because they explicitly summoned the robo goat, but Zordon's discovered the robo goat, so they all go back to the command center.
I want to say at this point, Tommy's acting weird. He's kind of like, he looks a bit like giggly standing behind them, and he's got red eyes.
Yeah, so he looks super high.
Yeah, he's high out of his mind, yeah.
So they teleport back to the command center.
Do you think that, like, Zordon drug tests them before they morph? Because, like, you don't want to be giving someone Power Ranger powers high. It seems irresponsible.
Matt, these are 5, young, by-the-books teenagers. I don't think they've ever,
I'm just saying you wouldn't want to take the risk, because if you get high and you get behind the controls of the Dragonzord, you're probably going to step on a building. Like, probably.
Are you suggesting that they implement drug testing?
It's probably a good idea, just for safety's sake.
We'll write a letter to Zordon.
Alright, I will.
Dear Zordon.
So, basically, they go, it's the robo-goat.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, let's go fight the robo-goat.
robo-goat.
Tommy goes, well, I'll fight too. And Kimberly and Jason say, no, look, you've got limited
Having a
powers.
dream.
We don't know that this one's bad enough for you to come yet. And Tommy's like, well, what if we summon the Sword of Power? Which
is not a thing.
No. I guess it makes them more powerful, so I can understand why.
yeah, we don't know what the Sword of Power does, do we?
No.
It's very...
It's full of power, Michael. Like, you could probably plug it into an electric car. It would run for days. If not weeks. It's a good sword.
It's a sort of power.
It's a sort of power.
Yeah.
That kept turning into sticks, but anyway.
Can I just say...
Twice.
Can I just say, it is nice for it not to be Zordon going like, we've never talked about the Sword of Power before, but here's this magical power. Like,
That does make a bit more sense. Like, it would annoy me, but it would make more sense than, here's this thing we all know about and use all the time, we just never see
but
it.
every other time that he just goes like, oh, the thing I fear most has happened, I have to summon the Sword of Power,
Yeah.
you complain about that.
Yeah.
So,
Both are shit.
Yeah, then we don't have
We don't
an
have
A
to
or B
settle
choice
for
here.
one here.
I think you do have to settle for one.
We have to settle for both, clearly, but that's not the point of the discussion.
So there's a complicated, they hold their hands out and then put them in a circle.
Can I just say in the scene that Kim is wearing overalls? So it is a thing that happens.
Okay.
We've had this discussion before about
Sure.
overalls.
There are overalls occasionally.
That she wears floral overalls.
Okay. Matt has a thing for overalls.
I just think, as a child, that sort of implanted that in my subconscious.
Specifically floral ones.
Not specifically floral. I'm just saying florals is nice. You have a choice.
Yeah. For spring, perhaps.
That's right.
Ladies, you taking notes?
That's right. Write that shit down.
Write that down, yeah.
Pro tip. Sorry, I interrupted your talk about Sword of Power.
Anyway, so yeah, there's a weird, hand gesture, summon the Sword of Power thing going on.
Yeah.
They summon the Sword of Power. It's in Tommy's hand. Tommy immediately goes like, ha ha ha, you
brandishes
fools,"
it at
and
them.
brandishes it at them, yep. And then teleports away. Job done.
Good plan.
It was a good plan.
It actually worked.
Yep. It's kind of depressing, really, if it's that easy.
Yeah, I mean, it all falls apart in just a moment. With a small oversight
Yeah,
on
so
their
look,
part.
he goes back to the cave
Yeah.
and gives the
As a
sword.
documentary, Michael? I believe.
No, it's a cave.
Okay.
And he gives the Sword of Power to the Robo-Goat.
Yeah.
At which point he is unhypnotized.
No, I think Golard does it to him. Because he says, now you're unhypnotized, and sort of gesticulates.
Why would he do that?
Why would he do that?
Well, that is a very good question. Because he's an idiot, I think is the answer to that question.
Okay, so Robo-Goat's going to use the sword to steal powers somehow.
Yeah.
So Tommy tries to fight Robo-Goat
Yeah.
and get the Sword of Power, and they fight for a bit, and then he grabs the Sword of Power, and it becomes a stick.
Yes,
does
but
become-
surprise
Become a stick?
fake out. It was clearly some sort of illusion. that was cast on the sword.
So where's the sword?
In Robogot's hands, you see it in the
No,
second.
that's the Rod of Destruction.
No, he also has the
Oh, does he
sword.
also
though.
have... Oh, this show.
I would have liked more explanation on that illusion there.
Yes.
Anyway, so Tommy basically gets defeated.
Yeah.
And he just starts lying down
Gets
in the dirt.
knocked off a hill and lies down
Lies
inside
in
the
the
hill.
dirt.
Yeah. It's not ideal.
So the other Power Rangers come down.
Yeah.
And they fight Robogoat.
Well, they basically don't. They almost immediately get knocked into a cavern. Like,
Okay, so
Chasm.
a chasm. Yeah.
Robogoat creates like a fissure in the earth
Yeah.
that 4 of the Rangers who aren't Jason fall into.
Because he's going to take them one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jason fights him and eventually frees them, at which point they become like
Energy
coloured
bubbles.
orbs coming out of his robot chest.
Yeah.
And Trini says,
I guess Jason.
finally,
got us out
I guess
of those
Jason
energy
got us
bubbles.
out of the energy bubbles.
Yes.
I mean, maybe once they fell into the chasm, they were trapped in energy bubbles.
Well, that's definitely what the show wants us to
Obviously what
believe.
happened, yeah.
But I think there's a case we made that was very poorly communicated.
Like everything in this show. So
I mean, they use shooting lasers for just about everything on this show. Why don't they just shoot them with lasers to turn them into energy orbs while they're falling into a pit?
because they've got a shot of them falling into a pit and not of them getting shot by lasers.
I just don't understand what the Japanese had intended when they shot this footage. Like,
There could be bits missing that they
Yeah.
cut around. I'm sure we probably got access to it in the same thing as we used for our last episode,
yeah, we
so
can look at it later.
we can check it out. So Jason fights Robogoat for a bit,
Yep.
and then it looks pretty evenly matched between the Power Sword and the Sword of Power, which are 2 separate weapons.
2 different swords.
I need to make it clear that they are 2 competing swords.
I know they're the Power Rangers,
Yeah.
but there are other adjectives.
I think if it hadn't been called the Sword of Power, we'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Like the Sword of Light,
But
to correspond with the Sword of Darkness.
I feel like that's sketchier. I was so sure from the confidence with which they were referring to the Sword of Power that it was something that you knew about and I didn't.
No,
Yeah.
Not the case.
no.
Not the case.
So then it turns out that the sword turns into a stick again. And Zordon has teleported the sword back to the command center and replaced it with a stick.
This is what annoyed me, because the first time I could buy that it was some sort of illusion that the monster cast
Yep.
turned into a stick. But then the Power Rangers are somehow able to use that exact same illusion without the Robogoat understanding or noticing.
It really should have been a sword of illusion.
Yes.
And then that explains that.
There we go.
Was the Sword of Illusion from the Island of Illusion?
Yeah.
Could this have been the return of Quagmire?
If
Everyone's
only.
favourite Hobbit DJ?
If only. I feel like Hobbit is disrespectful.
It was some sort of... Was he actually...
Is it, though?
Was he like an elf? Wasn't he actually an elf?
I can't remember.
Yeah, which isn't a Hobbit.
Oh, I mean, they're close enough.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Very
They're
different.
Anyway,
So
this is Mighty Morphin Lord of the Rings Danger.
This
Elves
is
are not hobbits.
a weird scene. But the Japanese do really cool explosions. There's some
Yeah,
high quality.
there's some good
blowing
explosions.
things up.
There are good explosions, yeah.
Yeah.
So
High point in the episode.
Was
Good
this the
explosions.
one that was filmed in Queensland? Or did
No.
that come later?
They shoot the show in New Zealand now, but at this point they're shooting it in Los Angeles. In quarries, mostly. I mean, actually, what you were watching was shot in a quarry in Japan. So,
Yes.
there's lots of quarries.
Quarries all
everywhere.
over the world, thankfully.
Yeah.
Surely those quarries should be, like, mining and shit, not being used to...
Well, they're abandoned quarries, mate.
Eventually,
Sure.
eventually
If
get
they
to the end
fought
of their
in-
useful life.
Yeah, if they fought in active quarries, that would be reckless and dangerous, and someone might get hurt.
other than, like, all the monsters that get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robogoat gets enlarged.
Yep.
The Rangers summon the Megazord.
Yep.
They blow up Robogoat.
But not before.
I have a problem there because Robogoat had the opportunity while in the 2 minutes that it took the Megazord to form. He could have won then
Yeah, that's a consistent problem with the show.
with the show. Yeah.
I think there's definitely.
Like, was he overcome by the music and the great...
Yeah, he was definitely in awe of the process, I guess.
Yeah, the process.
There's a lot of lighting, a lot of flashing lights.
Yeah.
It's easy to get distracted.
He is a goat after
That's right.
And they're easily distracted.
I know what's going on.
Maybe he's one of those fainting goats. And he just fainted temporarily.
The music gets to the right pitch. Oh, I'm out.
Okay, so yeah, it's pretty standard. Other than
Yeah, so Tommy is still lying down in the dirt on the side of this mountain.
it must have been at least
And
20
the goat
minutes.
does get the upper hand for a moment and knocks the Megazord down.
Yes.
Yes. And at this point, Tommy decides that he's going to have to help them out by summoning the Dragon Zord using his flute. That doesn't happen. He just fails at it.
Can I just say, I know we say this a lot. The dragon shield in
Yeah.
the US
I was going to say the same
looks
thing. Looks
so
like shit.
bad.
Yeah.
Looks terrible.
You know his golden shield?
Yeah.
In the Japanese footage, it's like a solid piece of armour. In the American footage, it looks like someone's Duna cover that they've cut up and just put on him.
Stuck onto a piece of polystyrene.
It's like he's
really
floppy and
terrible.
shitty,
It is-
and it
it
like
is bad.
bends underneath him.
Yeah, we're willing to overlook a lot of the inconsistencies between the footage in the show, but it's jarring.
It's not about consistency. It's just about quality.
Yeah.
Like it sucks.
If it looked different but okay,
You would
we'd
notice.
move past
Yeah.
it. But anyway. So,
Yeah, he doesn't summon the Dragon Zord. Nothing comes of that.
Robogoat finally names the Rod of Destruction, which
Yeah.
is the stick that he's got.
His penis.
No.
Not okay when we're talking about goats, Tim. No,
Goats is the line.
That's the line. That's it.
Goats is the line in the sand.
Sheep would have been okay, but goats is too far.
too far. Yeah.
Okay, so look, they destroy Robogoat. There's nothing particularly special there.
Yeah.
Still a bummer.
That
Lord
we can't
Zed's-
see that footage
Yeah.
together.
Gets angry and accuses everyone else of failure.
Yep.
Yep.
Which he does, that's his thing. He glows red, which he does.
Yep.
He threatens to clip Goldar's wings. And he gave Goldar his wings like 6 weeks ago, so
Yeah.
that's a pretty big threat.
I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, removing his wings would be one thing. He's saying that he will clip them, which is a very sort of specific process.
Also, his wings are useless and not used for anything.
That's right.
Anyway.
So yeah.
Mainly decorative.
But he's not entirely upset, because although he didn't get the sort of power,
You did have it for a bit.
he did have it for a bit, and also Tommy is much weaker.
Yeah.
That is
So-
a mature outlook.
Yeah, you know.
We didn't see that from Rita.
Surprisingly
Silver
even
lining.
tempered.
Yeah, like
Didn't win everything, but, you know, we're making progress. So,
Small victories.
the next scene is on the steps at the high school, where Tommy, Kimberly, and Jason are having a chat. And Tommy basically says, like, I could feel my powers going. It's not like...
Yeah, good news, bad news situation.
Yeah.
Good news, he did his essay, so not going to get bad marks in that class.
Yeah, not going to have to go to another detention.
Bad news, losing his superhero powers.
The world
probably
is still
something.
at risk.
Yeah. And that is where we end the episode.
Yeah, it's a pretty...
After a lot of strange knee touching, though.
it is very bleak.
Yeah.
The strange knee touching is Kimberly to Tommy, not Jason to Tommy or Tommy to Jason. I need to point that out.
Isn't it
Tommy,
three-way?
Jason to Tommy. There's a bit of shoulder rub.
Oh.
That's just how it is, you know. They're friendly friends.
Yeah, that's how it is amongst bros.
So yeah, we don't. There's no like comic relief scene at the end.
Not this time.
There's no. It just Tommy's going to lose his powers.
Does it follow on the next episode?
We'll find out.
I can tell you that in 4 episodes is the episode Green No More. So
We're gearing up.
yeah,
We're gearing up.
which is surprisingly like thoughtful of this show.
Yeah,
to
that's
be
a long
setting
way
up
in advance
that Tommy's
for
going to
these
be
guys.
losing his powers. Given
It is a surprising amount of forethought for the show.
normally on this show, we would see in 5 minutes into Green No More, Tommy would say, "Oh, I've been getting weaker for weeks." After having, like, last week, single-handedly destroyed a monster in his regular size. Okay, so, Matt, it's time for the Ranger Danger creature feature.
Yeah,
Robogoat sucked.
he did suck.
I kind of liked him.
Michael, what did RoboGoat do to...
Oh, nothing. He was useless, but I don't know.
What I don't like about Robogoat is that his robotic nature was...
completely superfluous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you here for the one who was like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, but I heard.
Was that also a ghost?
We've had a lot of creatures.
I don't even remember what his name was. Oh, no.
Was it like Nasty Goat?
No, don't be stupid.
I gotta be honest.
Oh, that was the Lizardnator. He was a lizard.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, maybe I did see him. I don't like Lord Zed zaps something and it turns into a monster as much as Finster makes
I miss Finster
a monster out of clay.
Yeah. He's still around, apparently. 'cause we saw
Occasionally,
that
yeah.
2-second clip of him a few episodes ago. Doing nothing now.
I guess because the show has to justify it harder. Like, there has to be a robot goat somewhere in the episode.
I just don't feel like there's much process involved. It's like, oh yeah, good, that this will do.
There's no artistic creativity.
Okay, so...
I mean, I'm really sad in general that quality jobs like monster creation are now outsourced to, like, rods in other countries. It's a metaphor, you see.
Okay, so where are we putting RoboGoat?
Low.
Low.
Low down.
How low are we talking?
First of all, I want you to explain to me why you think RoboGoat has any redeeming quality.
Oh, I can't explain it.
You can't just, like...
You just kind of like the way he spoke.
I mean, that was good.
Was it though?
That was quality.
It was bad.
I think low. But
Worse than Rhino Blaster?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. What did he do?
He had this sort of power.
That's not a good
That
thing.
wasn't his plan. That
That's
wasn't
just
his
he
skill.
conveniently appeared in this episode.
But he
though.
wasn't worse than Bloom of Doom, was he?
Yeah, I think Lisa Bloom had a gimmick and went with it. What was his gimmick? What was the RoboGoat's gimmick?
Are you going to make him worse than Frankenstein?
No, I think I'm just above Frankenstein. At least there's a little more creativity.
Okay, well, he's now like 5... In the last 3 weeks, we've had 3 monsters in the bottom 10.
Because they've been terrible monsters. I'm
telling you,
Lord
Lord Zed's monsters aren't as good.
No.
Alright.
So what happens when you outsource monster creation? Cutting the creatives out of the process. It's a problem. You can't communicate looks on a podcast, Michael.
I'm giving that a disdainful look. Do we have anything else to cover?
I don't think so.
Okay,
It's a short-
what did you think of your first episode?
I might hang around for the next one.
Wow, that's surprising.
That's a remarkably
Just as a point
positive
of
attitude.
comparison.
Well, the next one is episode 68. It's called The Power Stealer.
Okay.
Okay, I thought that was today.
I feel like that's what we just watched. Yeah, under a
feel like-
different
I
name.
felt like we covered that, but that's fine.
Okay, so I guess we're going to go watch that next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not this week.
They know where they can find us?
I told them earlier.
Yeah.
It's my job. It's my whole deal on this show. You do all the work, and then I say a few things at the start of the episode.
Sounds
That's
about
how
right.
we divvy up responsibility.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll be back next week, guys.
Thanks for listening.